Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, welcome back.
Thank you.
We had a good conversation with you only about a month and a half ago and had the opportunity to talk about a number of these issues. But in terms of compliance, you and I had a discussion about the need for better taxpayer service. Senator Cardin and I wrote this bill called the Protecting Taxpayers Act, some of which is now being implemented, and I appreciate that. It's part of the Taxpayer First Act. But this modernization effort is never ending, and the challenges are more and more sophisticated. And I want to talk about cryptocurrency for a second. We talked about digital assets and cryptocurrency back in April when you were before us, and you talked about the low visibility of these taxpayers and the importance of their compliance and closing the tax gap. I talked about how we were working on potential legislation to address that. I want to ask you a couple of questions about it. I noticed in the budget that you have $41 million to expand cyber crimes efforts and $32 million for crypto-related enforcement operations. You've also proposed additional information reporting for businesses that receive crypto assets with a fair market value of more than $10,000. In addressing the issues related to information reporting on cryptocurrency, do you feel that the IRS has the necessary authority to issue appropriate regulations?
I think we need congressional authority. We get challenged, as you're aware, we get challenged frequently, and to have a clear dictate from Congress on the authority of us to collect that information is critical. And the most recent market cap in that world, in the crypto world, exceeded $2 trillion and more than 8,600 exchanges worldwide. And by design, most crypto virtual currencies are designed to stay off the radar screen. So, you know, we will be challenged. Right now, what we do is we issue John Doe summonses, and I think it was highly public. We recently did that. We're very active in both the civil and the criminal enforcement world. We do need additional tools, and we absolutely need additional resources.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that answer, and as you know, we want to work with you. We've circulated some ideas, including to some of the stakeholders, and we want to be sure that we get your input on that as it relates to cryptocurrencies and digital assets.
We would appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Thank you. On the issue of staffing, I support more resources to the IRS. I have for years, since I was involved in the reform efforts a couple of decades ago. And it's for my small business constituents back in Ohio and individuals who are having to struggle with this overcomplicated tax code. You want smart, effective people at the IRS to work with. And the professionalism is important, the training is important. One of my concerns is you're asking for a lot of new people, and it takes a while to train them up. And I see that you have asked for hiring of at least 5,000 new personnel for enforcement alone, but you say it should not exceed a manageable 15% per year. Over 10 years, it seems that probably would double the IRS workforce. So do you have the ability to train these people up and to make them effective? And second, do you have the workforce out there to tap into? In other words, are you having trouble hiring people?
We're actually looking at hiring, and I may have indicated earlier, we started developing a plan months ago. We went a little bit at risk, if you will. And so if we receive legislation, we'll be able to implement quickly upon that receipt of legislation. But our view and my view is we're looking at different categories of individuals. We're not looking necessarily, as one might think, for individuals with less than 5 or 10 years of experience on the outside. We're looking for that category, certainly, but we're also looking for the mid-career people, maybe aged 35 to 45. We're also looking for people at my age category, and those last two categories can come in, hit the ground running, both in terms of managing a team of, if you will, examiners if they're on the enforcement side, as well as being instructors. And we need private sector people to come in and help us in terms of instructing, particularly in the partnership and virtual currency worlds, come in and serve as instructors to the mid and lower, lesser experienced, if you will, folks. So we have a variety of plans. We also are working on our outreach to different communities, not just the professional communities, but colleges, institutions, and others. We also are working on facilities, where we would place facilities for an increase in personnel. And I think the committee may be aware that proudly we recently opened a facility in Puerto Rico. And for the first time in a long time, we received more applicants, more qualified applicants Then we posted for positions, and, benefit is the folks there were also, many of them are also multilingual. We're also looking at opening facilities in certain underserved communities, and we're already on the ground in those communities looking to see what we can do in terms of opening facilities should we receive legislation. And I give you that as an indication that we are not waiting for legislation. We will be ready.
But you'll need the appropriation of additional funding to be able to follow through on this.
Absolutely. Without the funding,
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think, the oversight responsibilities of this committee are such that it'd be good to continue to have this discussion and be sure that, we're on board with regard to the plans. 'Cause I do
We've
think
got Senator
money-
Thune waiting, and I certainly share your thoughts there.